Hi, everyone. Welcome back to winter. We're optimistic, right? And it was over with 60-degree weather, and turns out, nope, we still live in New England. So I'm thrilled to have all of you here. So many new faces to me. This is really exciting. Hopefully exciting for you. I know, to maybe be asked to come to a presentation on data and dashboards may be the least thing that you wanted to put on your priority list today, but hopefully this will be really an interesting opportunity for you to learn a little bit more about what IRNA has been doing in support of enrollment management, maybe, but really in support of the university and in support of you. And so I'm here really just to share with you a little bit of information about why we're doing this. One of my team members suggested that since we have so many people coming here, this is the second of these workshops. The first was a few days ago. So since we have so many people that obviously I have not even met yet here at the university, and you may not have heard kind of the enrollment spiel about what we're doing in enrollment management and why that this might be a good opportunity to do that. So I'm just here to talk to you for a few minutes, and then I'm going to turn it over to Eween and some other people to share their experiences in working with the data. But this is really all being done in the context of positioning UNH for the future. So many of you, those folks who work in admissions and directly in enrollment, have seen this slide before many times. Here's kind of the scenario in a nutshell. I'm sure all of you have heard about the declining number of high school graduates in the state of New Hampshire and throughout New England, really throughout the entire Northeast. That's been happening for some time. It's been somewhat modest, but it has been recurring, and it is projected to continue. This is WICHE data that looks at the number of high school graduates through 2021-22. And just to kind of sum up all of the colors and the graphics on the chart, white is bad and blue is good. So white is right where we sit, and that's not necessarily encouraging, right? When you look at this map, because the biggest concentration of decline is here in our own backyard. And I always hate to be the bearer of bad news. It does not give me joy. But I will share with you that, in fact, this is not really the worst of the news. This shows high school graduates through 21-22. I have worked with Ken Johnson and Carsey and other people and looked at other demographic data over the last several months. And the unfortunate situation is that because we now are looking at birth rates, not just high school graduation rates, we don't see this turning around for at least 18 years. That the decline will continue as far as we know babies are being born in New Hampshire and in New England. And that is obviously of concern for us, right? So if we take a look at how those demographic projections would impact the freshman undergraduate class here at UNH if we did nothing differently, nothing. And of course we're not going to do that, but if we did nothing differently, this is what would happen to the class. Quickly. This is as of this past fall and for the next 4 years going out from there. So if you take this trend line and then you would continue it out for 18 years, you can imagine where that goes. Not terribly encouraging. Now, the good news is we all sitting here know that this is a fabulous university with a lot of great resources, a lot of great assets, really wonderful benefits to bring to students, and there's no reason that we should sit back and let demographics impact the future of the university. So that's really what we're trying to do in enrollment management. My job, in essence, is to try to figure out how we can position the university to be successful, not just this coming fall, but 5 years from now, and 10 years from now, and 20 years from now, right? And when we talk about doing a lot of those things, we are never turning our back on our commitment to our New Hampshire residents. So a couple of things that you are probably aware of. One is pretty recent and hugely exciting. The other was a little bit earlier. So in the fall, the admissions office waived the application fee for all New Hampshire residents applying for admission if they applied by basically Thanksgiving. And we saw an immediate uptick in the number of applications. We applied that application fee waiver to Manchester as well as to Durham. And in the short term, we saw actually a 34% increase in the number of early applications from the state of New Hampshire. Now, we knew that wasn't going to continue because we knew some students were simply applying earlier to get the fee waiver. But at the end of the day, we are up applications in New Hampshire by 4%, which is, respectable considering, again, that the number of students is actually going down. The bigger news, as hopefully you all have heard, is that last Thursday, I believe, we announced the Granite Guarantee, which is UNH's commitment to providing free tuition for all Pell eligible, basically low-income students in the state of New Hampshire. It is a huge move for the university. It is a huge impact statement. I just met with one of our state senators yesterday who is so very excited about it. He wants to continue to keep the momentum going and has offered to write an op-ed and is going to be talking to his colleagues in Concord about how the state of New Hampshire can really embrace that Granite Guarantee and figure out ways that we can expand it to other students. So regardless of where we talk about kind of growing and expanding, we never are ever intending on backing away from our commitment to New Hampshire students, and particularly to being financially accessible and affordable to New Hampshire students. So when we think about what our long-term enrollment management strategy is, it's really trying to figure out all the pieces of the university and how they fit together to, again, enable us to continue on that path to success for the long term. That involves a lot of new markets that they're students that have been enrolling at UNH, but have not necessarily received the attention, the support, the resources that they probably should, again, given the situation that we will probably have to be cautious about how many freshmen we are bringing in. We can't look to grow the freshman class so much in a declining market that we are decreasing selectivity, decreasing academic profile, and decreasing the academic qualifications of students so that they are not successful here at UNH. So we will continue to look for New Hampshire's best and brightest. We're developing all sorts of out-of-state markets. We're looking for more international students. We have a wonderful pathway program with Navitas, but we should be recruiting more international students directly, and we have some new attention being focused on that. We want to continue to bring in more and more transfer students from the community college system of New Hampshire. We need to grow the Manchester campus. We need to grow graduate enrollments, including the law school. We need to continue to assure financial aid support for first generation and low income students. And of course, we need to continue to improve our retention and graduation rates, which really are great. We're very proud of them, and we should be, but they can still get better when we benchmark our retention and graduation rates against other New England flagship institutions. There are some institutions that are doing better. That, again, that's not to say that we have a weakness there, but any improvement that we can make is really what we're all here to do, right? So why wouldn't we want to try to retain and graduate more of our students? So that continues to be important to us. You all have been invited here because when we think about an enrollment strategy, it is so impactful on every single person in the university. What you do has a direct impact on the students that enroll and stay enrolled here. And we're really talking about culture change, right? We're really talking about developing an organizational culture that positions the university for long-term success, that it's not really focused on any one person, it's not focused on any one office being responsible. It's trying to make sure that we are keeping true to our mission, we're making decisions that are consistent with our mission and with our strategy, but that we don't get so hung up in our strategy that we're not adaptable to things that may change over time, and that we continue to involve everyone here. So again, we're just thrilled that you're taking part in this. Data is a really important part of, everybody talks about big data and data-driven decisions and a lot of buzzwords around, right? Data's important, but data is only as good as what you actually do with it, right? And so the way that IRNA has shaped some of our enrollment data in this initial set of dashboards is just the beginning for how that office will continue to evolve over time, so that we're not just accessing data, but we're utilizing information to gain knowledge and ultimately to gain wisdom. This will be our crystal ball at looking into the future to whatever degree we can. So, although I will say, and we've had this conversation a lot in enrollment over the last few days as we try to think about our last round of admissions decisions, at the end of the day in admissions, we're predicting the behavior of 17 and 18-year-olds. So, how scientific that can be, I'm not quite sure, but we try. So, without further ado, I will turn it over to Yuming to share some information about the dashboards. And I will stay here and I will hopefully answer any questions that you have kind of towards the end.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. So for those who I haven't, yeah, we can switch now. Who I haven't had a chance to meet, my name is Yun Xiang. I'm the Director of Institutional Research